Hey guys, it's Vena here from Vena Spiritual Lounge. How's everyone doing? I know it's been a couple days since I've posted. I have been busy and then dealing with some stuff, and so I just wasn't led to post. I like to be totally in the moment when I do post a video, and be there like 100%. And if I don't think I'm going to be, I won't do it. And I usually just kind of post when I'm guided to. So, um, yes, I've missed you, love buckets. You know, it's funny and it's interesting to me. The whole Cassie Diddy, that whole debacle is filling the airways quite a bit. And I have my own opinions on it. But I will say this. I don't do synastry charts. Synastry charts are putting two charts together and seeing how they mesh with each other. I don't do them. I don't really know how to do them. Um, I don't know how to interpret them. I know how to do them. I just don't know how to interpret them. But I know there's a lot of astrology people that follow me on this channel, and I'm sure you can look. But I received intuitively on that situation, and I just kind of wanted to share it. So, this whole thing between the two of them is a very karmic pattern that they've been through before, and they actually came to really break it and to um, kind of turn things into like a positive type of relationship. And unfortunately, they got caught up in old patterns of how they have been doing things for several lifetimes. And believe it or not, I saw them having different roles um, as far as like gender. They kind of switched at some point, and I saw them being the same gender. Um, and kind of wreaking havoc on people around them in their circle. Um, but I know for a fact this is a karmic relationship between the two of them. And fortunately for Cassie, she seems to have broken it and kind of fulfilled her mission in this life to break that pattern and move about in a more positive way. And the other character in this drama, he wasn't successful, obviously, in doing that. As a matter of fact, it looks like he kind of gave in and just went further into that negative spot that he's been at. And like I predicted back in early December, I believe, when he very first got arrested, I said that he would not be released, and that we wouldn't even recognize him. He would age terribly as time went on, and that has both of those have proven to be true. But also, he, at some point, I think he will have a sort of kind of reckoning with himself. Does he want to stay or does he want to leave? Um, and I'm not even sure what his choice is going to be. But I do know that he's going to have a very, very, very dark night of the soul. Right now, he seems to still be in defense mode for himself, defending his actions and almost denial. But that too will change. Um, so, Cassie has broken her basic karmic chain for this pattern, fortunately for her. And, you know, how the universe works is basically once you learn the lesson or once you um, correct patterns, once you change patterns, once you sort of do what you came to do, um, the hardship, the suffering, etc., that falls away from you. That is taken from you by the universe lovingly. Um, because the lesson, the hardship, the suffering, it's only there for a reason. Okay, so it, like I tell you guys continuously, the universe is never ever cruel, ever. And you've got to get that into your head. It's never cruel. It's never mean. It's never picking on you or me or anyone else. Things happen specifically to a person in a specific way for a specific reason, to teach, to force the person to grow, to change, to correct, etc. Once that particular lesson is done, that particular hardship, suffering sense falls away. That doesn't mean for the rest of your life everything's going to be great, because you have other lessons and things you must learn and other growth you must accomplish and other things you must accomplish. But that particular hardship, that particular suffering, um, it evaporates, it dissolves, it goes away. And I'm very happy for her, um, moving on with her life. And she seems to have a beautiful life. And I love that for her. And I know that she has a lot of things that she has learned over the years. And um, we'll just say that she sees things very differently. Um, and that's, what certain things are designed to do. So I just wanted to say that about them. Um, there's a lot of interesting stuff that has happened in the 4 days since I posted. And a lot of you I know have heard about it, but I'll just reiterate it for those who haven't. Omaha, one of the reddest places, states in the country. They picked Omaha, Nebraska. Um, Picked a Democratic mayor of, and I believe Omaha is the largest city, if I'm not mistaken, in Nebraska. Not only is he a Democrat, but he is a black male. And it wasn't even like a close race. Okay, so that's the first time in 12 years that a Democrat has been picked for mayor of Omaha, and certainly a black male. Okay, so this goes in line with what I've been telling you guys. Republicans are going to turn against their party, like in ways, and we've been seeing that with a lot of these elections that have happened, right? Um, Democrats have overperformed in just about all of them, and so, and that is just going to continue. And the prediction I made about even the Republicans in the House and the Senate turning on Trump, that has already started big time. We've seen that. And that's going to be more and more. It's going to get to the point where they are going to be openly defiant about it, because they're going to see no one's going to vote Republican. They're seeing this and they're like, wait a minute. I'm still supporting this guy, and I'm ruining like my own career. It's just going to be open and brazen, and they're going to openly, publicly go against him to show their constituents that, hey, um, you know, a lot of people have also said to me, You keep putting in the comments about Social Security. I have told you from months ago, Social Security is in a bubble protected. That has not changed. Okay? There that's just it's not going to happen, okay? And as a matter of fact, there was a program that Doge had put into effect about finding waste and Social Security wasting money. And the waste was so low and the fraud was so minimal that that program was even pulled from Social Security. That is, it's not touch, it's untouchable. Medicaid. Here is my prediction for Medicaid. Medicaid will have minimal, and I'm getting the word minimal, cuts to it. Minimal, not what they are planning. Okay? Minimal cuts. Okay? Um, Ignore all the back and forth. And remember, this bill, this big, beautiful so called bill that Don Khan wanted the House to pass, didn't even make it out of committee. Republicans were against it. 5 Republicans joined Democrats in the committee to oppose the bill. And one of the things was deep cuts to Medicaid. Okay. My prediction long term, after all this is said and done, after the dust settles, very minimal cuts. But I've told you guys before that most of what this administration is trying to do will either be blocked, stopped, or the people will just revolt so much that it just can't be done. Don the Khan's his agenda is more so the people around him agenda, okay? Stephen Miller's one of them. I keep telling you guys about Stephen Miller. His energy, his actions are just blocked. I keep seeing him in this rubber room, padded room, and he's spouting all the crap he wants, but nothing sticks. Nothing sticks. Sadly, we've already seen the immigration stuff. Even the Supreme Court voted 9-0 against the very latest immigration push by Trump. And the Aliens Enemies Act, he tried to invoke that. That got knocked down. I mean, it's just, there's hundreds of court cases, going through the system right now. So, instead of panicking at every single thing that you hear, sit back, let the dust settle, let divine love do her thing. She doesn't stop. Just because you're hearing this crap come out of this administration doesn't mean divine love just stop being divine love. Oh, we're going to take a break now for 4 years, or a year or a couple of months. No, divine love doesn't work like that. Divine love is consistent, constant, and always there. And that's going to be like the headline of divine lesson number 6 today, later. But, and one more thing, even Josh Hawley, who is one of the most MAGA conservative guys out there, literally said he's not supporting these Medicare cuts, and he says it would hurt his constituents too much. Now, that to me is very surprising coming out of his mouth, but even he realizes, and it falls in line with what I said, these people are going to realize they're unelectable. Which is happening. All right? Let's see. I've always said before summer there would be lots and lots of jobs restored. I talked about some being restored last week. This week there were hundreds of workers, Health and Human Services workers. They were brought back on the job. They were let go uh, a month and a half, almost 2 months ago, I believe. Now they were brought back this week, hundreds of them. Okay, and that's going to be the pattern. More and more coming back. Okay. Um, Told you guys about Thune. Watch him. No, he's not. He's not our friend, but he's going to be the enemy of the enemy. He came on, gave a press conference, and publicly said that if that jet that Qatar wants to gift Don the Khan, he's definitely not only going to look into it, but it's not right, it's illegal, and it's wrong, and he's going to pursue that. And he said that. But keep watching him. Just keep watching him. Um, he's going to come through at the right moment when he needs to on other stuff. Okay. Um, let's see. Allison Riggs, bless her heart, the North Carolina justice. She had her official ceremony. She took office. Okay. So she's in. She's literally in. Last week I talked about where the other guy finally conceded, and it was acknowledged that she won. Well, this week she actually physically took office. She was sworn in. She's in. Yay! All right. I've been told you guys about Norway, and they have done some amazing things since I put out that prediction. But they're not done. So Don the Khan wanted them because they have a king, and he wanted to be invited by the king of Norway over there for like an official meeting. And so what did the king do? The king turned around and invited Obama instead. Did not invite Trump. Do you love it? And there's pictures of President Obama with the King of Norway recently. You can Google it. So, yeah, that I like that. That's kind of funny. David Jolly of Florida. He formally and officially announced that he left the Republican Party and he's going to run for governor in Florida as a Democrat. He announced that in Naples, Florida yesterday. Um, I don't know anything really about him, but as I was reading some of the comments on the post that I was reading, it did say that he's kind of a good man with integrity. I'm sure there's many of you on here that are aware of him or know of him, so I'm sure you'll chime in. I'm not sure yet, but I do feel that intuitively he is anti-Trump, and very much so. Whether he's still a Republican or not, I feel that he's very anti-Trump. And so if he's anti-Trump, he can't be all that bad, right? All right. A lot of people are asking about the stock market. And I've been telling you guys, be conservative with your investments. Um, June 19th seems to be another date that I've been given. Um, I'm pretty sure it's related to the market. But then again, I have misinterpreted their dates before. Not with the stock market, though. When they specifically gave stock market and a date, it's been on the exact date when it crashed. Those two ones happened already. But I'm giving June 19th. So I'm going to actually write that down. Let's watch out for June 19th. And I believe it could be another super big downturn for the stock market. Be conservative with your investments. I don't say withdraw from it completely, but just be conservative. Same with your 401ks, etc. Uh, Justin Bieber. I put out a prediction a couple weeks ago about him and a very bad downturn for him. Um, and that I almost saw him like in a paralyzed state, more so mentally. And of course, we're seeing that he has unfortunately like maybe substance abuse problems, certainly problems with his marriage, and other issues going on. But also, we just heard because it just happened that he was forced to sell his music catalog for 200 million. Um, Obviously, I guess he needs the money, and it's worth billions. So he took a cut from that, and unfortunately, this is not the last bit of information we're going to be hearing about him. So uh, let's just send him love. Let's just send him love and let him use it how he needs to use it. Okay, he's so talented, and he's a genuinely nice guy. He's just in that type of lifestyle, and was connected to the diddler. So but he's clawing his way through life right now, and let's just send him love. Okay. Real quick, back to the elections. Oklahoma and Massachusetts also elected Dems in traditional Republican counties. That it, I mean, it's just going to be the trend from here on out. It's totally. And Oklahoma is extremely, probably, I think they were termed the reddest state in the country. Or they were neck and neck with another state, but they're very, very rare. Well, they elected several Dems, booted out the Republicans. So, um, yeah. Now, let's talk a little astrology, okay? Um, we have it's coming up Memorial Day. We have a Mars will square Uranus. Okay? This will affect everyone. I only tell stuff that's going to affect everybody, okay? I don't go into specific astrological events, but if something is big and something that's going to affect everyone and it's pretty major and I feel the need and the urge to really speak about it, it's important and you're going to feel it, okay? This coming Memorial Day weekend, Mars will square Uranus in the sky. The energies will be chaotic, out of the blue, and tend towards violent type of action. Okay? And that could involve also, I have a feeling that it's going to involve also not only violent actions with people committing violent actions, but weather type stuff. That just is coming to me too. Um, Mars is the planet of action, okay? And it can be violent. Uranus is also a planet of violence, but very sudden, out of the blue, okay? Lightning strike, all right? So when those two square, those energies square, it's like amplified, okay? And so I'll just say this, be vigilant. If you don't have to get into an argument, don't. Avoid it because it will escalate to the point where you can't even imagine. This will be the time for super escalation, out of the blue, like someone like just out of the blue doing something, like where the hell did that come from? That's going to be the energy of this weekend. Okay? So please put that on your phone calendar starting at around like Wednesday, Thursday on through the weekend. Just say, look, don't argue. However, you have to flag yourself. Just remind yourself of these energies that are coming, okay? Okay, I'm going to do one question this week. And here it is. It says, "Hi, Vena. Thank you for everything. I have a question for NDE, near death experience. Which one has an experience, your soul or your spirit?" So someone has obviously not read my books because I explain all that in both of them, actually. But the very short answer is your spirit has the experience. Okay, the soul is the over, um, the highest form of you. Okay. Even in death, how our subconscious will process both experiences. If your spirit will return to God and your soul for judgment. Okay, we never leave God, love, the infinite source of all. We never left it. Just because we're here in this costume, right? We have we have just basically taken on an outer shell, okay? And we're like performing in a very real, but a play. It's real, but it is a play. Okay, our spirit is performing in this play, and it's taken on this shell. And today it happens to have on a purple shirt. Okay, um, so we're never separate, and we're never disconnected from the infinite source of all. Also, there is no judgment, um, per se. Um, there is there is no judgment from a higher source, a higher being. That type of energy does not exist. There's no judgment because all is really one, and all is um, when you look at things from the spiritual perspective, right? You see the totality of everything, right? So the horrible thing that you're thinking you're going to be judged for or that others are going to be judged for, this is it, right? Okay? But then the totality of it is that who knows, you might have had to come and fulfill that role to uh, make this situation for others, for example, or you might be fulfilling a karmic obligation, or there could be several different reasons, but the energy of judgment doesn't exist. We look back at our own actions that are recorded, okay? And if you read my book, you know very well that they're very recorded. In my chapter on um, when I was basically robbed. Um, and each action is not only recorded, but we go back and we can feel that experience, live through it again, but in a detached, objective sense. Okay? And to understand why we did what we did or why others did what they did. That's not judgment. Okay? That does not exist. Okay? So I really like that question because they brought out several things that I wanted to address. So, in answering that, let's kind of shift gears and go into our Divine Lesson number 16. And I wanted to start it off with saying that the more that you acknowledge and connect with divine love, you become less concerned about the outcome of things. You become less razzled and frazzled about what goes on around you, okay? Because you're acknowledging that, yes, things are happening, but divine love is still there. Imagine divine love like a hurricane, okay? Hurricane force winds, in a sense, that aren't too violent, though, all right? Those winds cover every bit of space, right? That is how divine love is. Divine love covers every bit of space. Right now, this space that's between me and this screen is filled with divine love. My body is divine love, is a part of divine love, expressing itself as a body. Okay? When you are working through something, dealing with something, seeing something, right? You are sometimes thinking, okay, this is separate. Yeah, I know love is there, but this is separate from love. No, it's nothing is ever separate from love. It is just expressing things in a way that you can relate to, you can see. Okay? But once you mentally take your focus and acknowledge that divine love is still even there through whatever mess it is that you think you see, okay? It changes things, it alters it. In a lot of cases, it can correct it. Okay? That hurricane of divine love, it's not weak in little spots or non existent. There's no pockets where it doesn't exist. It's through and through, right? A hurricane is through and through. And I'm using that mainly because most of us can relate to a hurricane. Even if we haven't been through it, we've seen it, right? And sometimes divine love does move like a hurricane in a sense of it'll have to move things in a violent way, in a very forceful manner, as things are being done in this country right now. Okay? Right? But it's still there. And it's always harmonizing, correcting, okay, balancing things. And so sometimes it's going to have to toss things up, move them out the way, do what it needs to do in order to get to that point of harmony. Okay? The harmony is always there. We just can't see it all the time. Okay? And that is, I think 2 lessons ago, I told you step back, look at things more objectively. You can no more be separate, like they asked in this question, from the force, the power of divine love, then you can stop breathing. Right? It's there, whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you believe it or not, it's there. What do you think keeps everything going? What do you think animates everything? Our spiritual selves are always connected, and thus we are always connected. We cannot see it at times, okay? And we can not acknowledge it at times, but it's always there. Divine love is the absolute basic form of energy that exists. It is what sparks everything. It is what animates everything. Right? So, I want to give you an example, and I'm sure you've heard this before. It's like you've got two siblings, right? Grew up under the same household. And this is something most of us can relate to. One of them turns out really, really good, productive member of society. One turns out not so great, right? Okay. So that is indicative of they're still coming from the same source, right? They're still coming from the same parents. Still had the same upbringing, right? One just chose to see things one way, another chose to see and do things another way. Okay? That's how we are at times. So, in acknowledging divine love's presence, should make us step back more from our problem, from what's bothering us, from what's aching us, from what's hurting us, from what's depressing us, and realize that love is even there then. And when you acknowledge that love is even there and working then, it takes the edge off. And instead of running from what you're seeing, you're expanding into it. But you're expanding into it with the understanding and the acknowledgement of divine love being there and working it, working the situation, working your emotions. And it can, and it does. Divine love can calm your emotions, can ease your so-called depression, can do all of that. When you acknowledge its presence, its existence of harmony, of pure and perfect love, when you acknowledge it, in the midst of going through what you're going through, etc., it also opens up your insight into what you're going through, why you're going through it, and can show you ways to work through it, to resolve it, etc. Okay? So, anytime you think you're not a part of love or God or the source or whatever, you you're thinking incorrectly, because you can't ever be separate. If love were to vacate, there would be nothing, nothingness. There wouldn't even be a nothingness. And you certainly wouldn't be here. Okay? So I'm going to end that there. And if you need to listen to it again, listen to it again. One of the people that follow this channel um, very nicely um, said that last week's lesson helped their husband so much. He listened to it 5 times. And fortunately, my timestamp bandit, you can, when she posts the timestamps, you can go directly to that section. Um, but they said that her husband listened to the section on divine love, number 5 times last week. I loved that. I love that, which meant that it was connecting. It was resonating with him. He was connecting to it on different levels, and he was absorbing it and was working with it. I love that. I love that. He is making it his own. And that is what all of us have to do. Take what I say, yes. However, you've got to make it your own and work it for you in your own individual way. Divine love is all encompassing and yet so individual. You cannot imagine how individual its spark is. And why? Because each and every one of us contains that spark, that energy of the divine. We're never separated from it. We're never disconnected from it. We're never not a part of it. So that's why it can be all encompassing and yet extremely individual. Okay, so I will leave that with you guys. Thanks for checking in. Take care and love to you all. All right, let's just throw it out there, and whoever needs it can get it. Love to everyone. All right, take care, guys.